This is a bit of an interesting one, and I hope you stick with me for this. This is all about Perko Seacocks. I'm doing a talk for the YDSA next week, and ASAP Supplies, based up in Beccles, and they have depots all around the UK, very kindly lent me one for the talk. And I think it's a great opportunity to actually show you what a decent bronze seacock should look like. So this is what came in the box, and here's the delivery letter from Perko. I must just say that the American Boat and Yacht Council, everything in America is done to their standards. Their standards, I think, are so high for stuff like this. You know, this, you can see the quality, and unfortunately you can't pick this up, but the weight of this is phenomenal. I mean, it's nearly 2 kilos, or just over 2 kilos in weight, this bronze seacock. So here we go. Just apologise about the untidiness in my desk, but anyway, here we go. So this is what's come in the box, along with a brief sort of little couple of tips there. So I'm going to show you these. So this is a solid bronze Perko Seacock. It's pretty spectacular. One of the great things is the fact that the ball in the middle here is actually a polymer ball, so you don't have, like we have on some ball valves sold in this country, where they're brass casing, they have a brass ball or a chromium plated ball which will eventually leak. You've got winter drain downs. Now what's interesting is it says in the instructions that on these they have 2 drain downs either side for winterization, but obviously not to be opened when the boat is afloat. You've got a threaded side here for the external skin fitting to be wound through. So it's important, obviously this comes as quite a long tail, so it's important when you drill the hole through that you know the thickness of your hull, and then you put this through. But I mean, look at the length of opportunity there, depending on what you're putting it through. You know, 1.5 inch planked boat, down to a modern production GRP boat at about 8 to 10 mil. So, you know, be careful of it. What's interesting here is this is a straight thread for the outside and not a tapered one. Now what's also good here is you've got 4 bolts. Now they haven't actually supplied any bronze bolts. For me, it's really important not to use stainless steel in these. And then you've got this one here. Now this is quite interesting because, again, in America they're saying that you should bond your seacocks, whereas in the UK we tend to try and discourage that, basically for dezinkification reasons, with all the rubbish brass and stuff that we use. And to me, I know my dad would be listening from above saying to me, you should always bond your seacocks, but I have been told on more than one occasion from some of the leading suppliers of anodes that really these days they don't like doing it. But I do think there's a case to be made when you're using a proper bronze seacock like this. So that's 2 little bits there. The next thing is the hose tail connection, which is this one here. Now what's interesting, this is a tapered thread, and this takes me all the way back 45 years. How do you tell it's a tapered thread? Well, I've got my vernier calipers here, but I mean, when you get experience to these things, you look at that, you can see that's tapered. Here you are, you can see this one is straight. You're probably looking at this TV and thinking, what on earth is Ben talking about? But let me just show you here. I'll just drop that in there very quickly. But with the vernier calipers, if you put the vernier calipers on the straight faces, you can actually see, I don't know if you can see that, there's a clear taper on the threads running off, yeah? Let me do that there. You can now see that it's quite clear from the bottom to the top is tapering off. I love the fact that everything's got its stamp on it to say it's part of the Perko unit. So this is tapered, and we used to, in the old days, everything for skin fittings below the waterline used to be tapered, which is another reason why I say to people, when you're removing old valves, especially the old gate valves, and then fitting onto what is the existing skin fitting through the hull, be very mindful of the fact that that could be, especially on things like Moody's and old Westerlies, a tapered fitting rather than a square shouldered like this is. So that's really it. Here's the rub. This is at least, this is a 1 inch fitting, retails at £450, £500. But then it's going to last you a lifetime. But you know, it's horses for courses. If you're not going to do these, I would be certainly going back to the Marillon valves like I've shown you previously. I would not be fitting the DZR brass equivalents. Just look at the thickness of the walls of these pieces of kit. It's absolute workmanship, and I just think it's just absolutely amazing and robust. And I hope more of us, when we've got a decent yacht we're going to keep hold of for a long time, seriously think about the investment in our Seacocks. Well, that's enough ranting from me. I hope you find that interesting, but do watch these fittings here, that you use something like a Bonds screw rather a Bonds bolt rather than a stainless steel one, because you're going to immediately set up yourself to fail.